Welcome, everybody, to BeerNet Radio. This week, your editors traveled to Dallas to the famous Gas Monkey Garage to talk with the folks behind Garage Beer, the lager brand initially launched by Braxton Brewing in 2018, but eventually was purchased by Andy Sauer along with the Kelce brothers and Gas Monkey owner Richard Rawlings. We're joined by Richard at his place, along with Garage Beer CCO Brian Mohr and Andrews Distributing CMO Jaxie Alt. And you, my friends, are a fly on the wall.
All right, I'd like to welcome to BeerNet Radio Richard Rawlings, the man behind the Gas Monkey Garage empire, and more recently, Garage Beer partner. Brian Mohr, Chief Commercial Officer for Garage Beer, and Jaxie Alt, CMO of Andrews Distributing. Now, we have a special edition today on site at Gas Monkey here to talk about Garage Beer, which is leading this emerging class of what I call personality-driven lagers, if you will. Garage Beer has had a giant distribution push in the last couple of quarters, and now it's national with big aspirations for millions of case sales in 2025. Yeah, that's a secret. It's not anymore. So we're going to dig in on how this brand is built differently. So welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Cheers.
There you go.
Get you some
Cheers.
of that.
I like to think that's the best sound in the world.
That's right.
And by the way, thank you for having us at your garage. This is badass.
Thank you.
That's
it's a lot of fun.
I brought my son here, Wyatt, who's 25, and I was like, this is badass. You're welcome, son, for bringing.
Yeah, right? You know, it's like I like to tell people I might be the smartest guy in the world because I figured out how to drink beer and play with cars and get paid for it. Now I'm drinking my beer and playing with cars and getting paid for it. So I might be like really smart.
Nice. Well, okay. Well, let's start with you, Richard, because this is your place, right? You are a big Miller Lite guy. So how did you come to Garage Beer?
Well, I was a Miller Lite guy. It goes back to just being a kid and whatever you drink, that's what we had a choice of. And we didn't have an alternative choice for a very, very long time in the light beer category. And everybody always came to me back in the early Gas Monkey days, you need to have a beer, you need to have a beer. And I was like, Gas Monkey beer, Billy Bush tried it. It didn't work out too well for him. So, I didn't think that it was for me. And when the Garage Beer team reached out, and I tasted the product, I was like, this is it. This is a brand that I can get behind and I can be a part of, and I like the beer. And so, it's a match made in heaven. And, I'm proud to be a part of it. I'm really proud of the growth and everything that we're doing, but I'm sure we'll get to that. But to answer your question, the right thing came along that we've never had a choice. All the other people were like, we're flavored with juniper berries, and we have fairy dust in our beer. And look at this, we've got a weird unicorn on our logo. And, it really is, for me, growing up my whole life and being a beer guy, it's that, when you get off work or when you're in the garage tinkering on the weekend and you're just grabbing a cold beer or cooking a burger on the grill, it doesn't have to be all fancy and weird, it's beer.
Beer flavored beer.
Absolutely. Cheers to that. There we go. All right. So you mentioned unicorns and shit because I think we're 2 minutes in. Okay. So I can say that. Which is obviously, there's Montauk in this space. There's 8. There's Real American Beer. So
they're not in our space. They're not right next to the big 3.
Well, you're right.
They're over there with the flavored bullshit that I was talking about.
There you go. Okay. Well, to the point, what makes this different? Why is it getting so much traction? I mean, it's in 50 states now. I think the ACV is getting up to like 10% at
Stealing
least.
all my content for dinner.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
So how did it get there? What makes this different? How is it built differently?
Is that a question for me?
It's for anyone.
Obviously, you're the brains here.
No, I think it's a great question. I think with Garage, and Richard kind of hit on it, we're beer-flavored beer, which sounds silly because it is, and we're kind of a cheeky, fun brand, and we are the way we make our beer. We're an American style light lager. It's about as simple as it gets. We have a light, and then we have a lime flavored light beer, and I think where we're different is, and we don't. And again, we're not trying to compare ourselves to those brands that you had mentioned, but we live in kind of that super premium space, and I think for us, what I call Nirvana is us to be kind of in super premium and the start of like craft and import, because we feel that we're certainly going to get consumers from both sides. We're going to get them from craft, we'll get them from, premium and super premium. That's the space that we live in. And, our consumer, we hit that kind of sweet spot of, 21 to 35, but we do feel that we're beer for everybody.
Yeah.
And, it's easy to drink. It's 4%, 95 calories, and 3 carbs.
Yep.
It's pretty easy.
Yep. So you're taking from Mick Ultra and Craft.
We'd like to think so.
Yeah.
We'd like to think so.
Absolutely.
Who's
Cool.
Nick Ultra?
Yeah.
I don't know. I heard you around it.
Who is that guy?
Because the big guys have kind of abandoned this space. Not abandoned. That's not true. I mean, Mick Ultra's doing well, for instance. But when was the last time anybody's... I don't want to shit on the big three. They're our customers, too. But, I mean, when was the last time you can remember a marketing campaign that they put out that you remember? Like, What's Up?
Yeah, Spuds McKenzie.
Spuds
Yeah.
McKenzie in
the
1980.
most interesting man in the world.
Yeah.
It's because they don't have to. I think that the scrappiness of garage beer really turns me on. We're out here beating the streets. We're showing off the product. We're giving them a reason. The big guys, God bless them, they did that in the 70s, and they haven't done it since. And that's what built them. You used to wait for that Super Bowl commercial or wait for that new campaign, and now it's all computer-driven, and they just think the cases are going to keep moving. And I think that, building, I don't know if you'd call it a garage army, but, building a consumer base out there that has a product they can stand behind, they're proud of, and they want to be a part of. And that's why you've got people like me involved with the brand and owning the brand, and the Kelce brothers and Paige Spranik and what have you. We're part of the brand. We're not paid influencers. You see my place here. This is the Garage Beer Bar. Get you some.
Right.
From a distributor perspective, too, we get pitched a lot of brands, and it was obvious that this was different. And that's the first question I always ask is, how is it different? Because we have a lot of brands in our house, and we get pitched a lot. And from the get-go, from an emotional perspective, it's like the garage. I mean, it's a state of mind, right? You emotionally connect with this brand. The content that they're putting out is fantastic. It's authentic. It's real. I look forward to, when I first saw the Christmas stuff, right? So good. And recently I saw Jason with a samurai something. I haven't even seen it yet. I can't wait, right?
It's coming.
And it's digitally based. It's so modern. It's fun. It's fun. I think the world needs fun. It's fun content.
You nailed it. I mean,
And
that's
then-
what we're trying to do.
Yeah, and then from a consumer perspective, when you look at the carbs and the calories, it's what people want. It's also simple. They didn't come to us with 100 different flavors and 1,000 SKUs. They're like, we got classic, we got lime, we got a couple packages, let's go. So the whole proposition just worked.
Yeah. For Andrews, who has, I think you guys literally have 1,000 brands,
We
right?
do.
Like literally.
Literally.
To say that this brand,
Yeah.
to take this on because there was white space for it to fill, I think
Yes.
says a lot. Mm-hmm. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. Well, let's talk about, Run Room, right? You told me, because last night we had dinner, and you told me you guys have already
Y'all had
done.
dinner? I wasn't invited.
You were, but you crashed your truck last
I wasn't either, Richard.
We're not supposed to talk about that.
Oh, I'm not worried about that. That was for TV cameras. That was no big deal.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, so dinner last night.
Yeah, so dinner last night, we talked about cases, right?
Yeah.
You've already done 1 million cases
We have.
to date. Run rate already year to date in 2025?
In 2024.
Oh, in
We're
2024,
on pace
okay.
to do significantly more than that this year.
Right, so y'all are in all 50 states already. You've been on a crazy distribution drive the last couple quarters, all 50 states. What's the distribution network like? Mostly Molson Coors?
Yeah, good question. We're, I'd say, about 75% Miller Coors, Constellation House. The other 25% would be AB and all other.
Okay, cool. And why that breakdown?
I mean, we interviewed, honestly, every distributor in every market, which, as you can imagine, was a lot of fun. We got to meet a lot of great people. But, I think ultimately when we sign distributor partners such as Andrews, we really wanted to sign somebody who was going to help us build a brand. And anybody in this business that's a supplier knows that the pathway to retail is through the wholesaler network. And it was super important for us that we had somebody really in the relationship that was going to help us build it together.
Yeah.
And so that's ultimately who we signed. We signed partners that we felt like were the best partners for Garage.
Yeah, absolutely.
We joked about.
Wait a second, who is this guy? Nobody told me.
I'm Jordan. I'm with BVD too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Jordan.
All righty. Here we
We
go.
normally introduce everybody, but
Well, I know. I was
you
just
saw
like, who
how
is
I
this guy?
screwed up the introduction. Okay, so
It's been a slow start.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm Jordan. I've been working for Harry for 12 years. Jen and I have both been there a long, long time.
Okay, don't make it sound like it's jail.
Who do you think's older, me or Harry?
I already know the answer to this question. It's a trick question. Y'all are both the same age. So,
I'm actually a few months older. So.
okay.
Those were hard months, brother.
We were joking earlier about all the brands coming into this space and, who are they? But there are a lot of brands coming in. And what have you noticed about this space transforming, and how are retailers kind of segmenting this, outside of the big three? Because is there a particular way, and for you too, Jaxie, on how you want to see it on shelf and broken out?
It's a great question, because I think, with light beer light beer's been around a long time, and I think there really has not been anything super fun and interesting over the last decade. I know a few folks have tried. There's more folks trying now. And I think where we're different is we are fun, but we've got great partners, whether it's Richard or it's Jason and Travis or it's Paige, is that, they really get eyeballs onto the brand. And I think you can have the best beer in the world, but if nobody's trying it and, shopping your brand at retail, then is it going to work or not? And I think we kind of know the answer to that question. And we've got great partners around the brand that can actually get people to it once they try it and they go, holy smokes, that's actually a great domestic lager. I want to, continue to buy that, maybe over something they've been buying for years. And so, we feel like we've got a clear shot at an opportunity that really has been lacking for at least a decade.
We've got it in the super premium set, and we think it works really well there. It's for us, we think it's the right space to be. We think it's where the consumer's going to look for beers like that. But I would tell you another thing I think is different about this is that these guys are so great to work with. Like, you're really easy to work with, and we can come with ideas. They take our ideas, they listen. We've done some stuff locally in Dallas that we were like, hey, what about this? And their marketing team is like, awesome, let's try it. Let's give it a try. Sometimes, people don't listen to the distributor, right? Do what I tell you to do.
Wait a minute. This is shocking news. Wait a minute. A supplier doesn't listen to their distributor? That is funny. Well, one thing that is like, when you think about when I grew up in the industry in the 90s and 2000s, it was all about who's going to be on the Super Bowl, who's going to be in the NBA playoffs.
Yeah.
And I feel like that macro media juggernaut has now migrated to YouTube or to where you guys have more eyeballs than the Super Bowl, in a given period of time.
Sure.
So I'm not asking a question. I'm just making a speech, because I feel like it's important that I give at least one speech.
You're right.
For every podcast.
But now, consumers want content daily. That's what these guys do,
daily.
right? Every single day I'll watch New Heights or some piece of content from Garage Beer that's awesome, right?
Yeah.
Versus waiting for the once-a-year Super Bowl.
Right.
Yeah.
And I drink it daily, so I'm doing my part, right?
I can vouch for that.
We're
He
all
does.
good?
Yeah.
All right, good.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I'm doing my part.
You look all right. You know, it looks like it's treated you well.
It has.
Yeah.
I've actually aged backwards since I got with Garage Beer.
Okay, Benjamin Button.
I used to look like you, sir.
I looked like me 10 years ago.
But now that Harry's starting to drink garage beer, it's okay.
Yeah,
The TTB
It can
approves
happen
this
to you,
message. That's hilarious.
Garage Beer grows hair back, right?
Yeah. Well, speaking of, okay, so what is Garage Beer's demo? What's the demographic?
We do have that sweet spot, I think, that everybody's trying to get, which is, we say the 21 to 35 consumer, but we're beer for you. 21 to 100, we're beer for you. It's just an easy drinking, American light lager that, if you drink craft a lot of the time and you need to take a break so you don't fall off your bar stool with your 11% juniper berry beer, you mix in a couple of garage beers and you can drink a little bit longer. Or, if you just want to sit around and, tinker on your car and have a few beers, you can. And us being at 4% and, very, very easy to drink, that it's something you can drink all day long. And whether you're on the golf course or out of the pool or just, working in your garage.
You know how I spell craft? I spell it with a P.
I don't get it.
I don't get it. I don't get it either. Maybe if I have a couple more beers, I will.
Yeah. Get rid of the F and add a P.
Got it. Okay.
You guys are quick over there. Y'all been doing this a while, right?
This, yes.
Jen kept me up till midnight drinking martinis
Oh,
at the Adolphus.
no.
If I would have known it was going to be that much fun, then I would have been there.
I was drinking whiskey. He was drinking espresso martinis.
Hey,
Okay.
by the way, I'm sorry I stayed at a hotel that was built by Adolphus Busch.
Hey, we're friends with
Okay.
the Dolphins.
Yeah. Okay.
It's all right.
I mean,
That's all right.
when I go to a new city, I have to stay in a hotel that was built by a beer baron. And there's one literally in almost every city.
Makes sense.
Those guys were rich.
It's nice. And who did
Building
he?
hotels just because he had a mistress in Dallas.
Yeah, there's going to be
Allegedly.
some garage beer hotels. They're coming soon. We haven't announced it yet, but we're working on that,
I
right?
love it. I love
working
it.
on it.
Great idea.
No, but there are going to be garage beer pubs, right? Tell us about that.
Well, I actually am opening my flagship here in Dallas, Gas Monkey Ice House. And, of course, being Ice House, we've got 26 beers on tap, I believe, plus, all of the regular handhelds and all that kind of stuff. We'll probably have a pretty high emphasis on garage beer since it's my bar. But, we're going to have some fun. We're going to have some mixed drinks with, especially with the lime version of garage beer that are going to be pretty fun. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to having some garage beer parties and bashes. And, the garage beer is really, when they say the garage is always open, that's the way I grew up. If there was a problem in the neighborhood or somebody had a problem with their car, their motorcycle, all the men got together and the kids got together and everybody's doing whatever and helping each other out. So that's kind of what I think that the community out there that's engaging with garage beer like they are is doing. And so we're going to have some pretty cool epic parties there. And the best part about it, being in Grandscape where we're at, is there is a plethora, if you will, of hotels in my parking lot. So you don't even have to drive home.
Yeah.
You can just party all you want. I'm actually going to get like an 8-person golf cart and take people to and from the hotels. It's going to be awesome.
Like that one over there?
Yeah, exactly, right?
That is very cool. Awesome. Okay, well, Brian, how did you come to Garage Beer? How did you get involved? Because you were with Pabst for a long time. You were with CBA. You'd worked with big wholesalers. You've been in the industry for decades. So how did you come to this brand?
Well, started, I guess conversations back in early 2024. Garage had already been doing really, really well in the Midwest. And my business partner, Andy Sauer, who is, really the brains behind it, and said, hey, I think we can do something with this beer because there's really just nothing, or really hadn't been anything interesting in the light segment saying, hey, we're beer for you. There's nothing crazy behind it. It's an easy drinking beer, doing really well in the Midwest. I want to take this thing nationally. And so as we started kind of having conversations, and I said, hey, would you send me some beer so I could try it? And being a bit of a beer geek over the years, once I tried it, was like, okay, you have an amazing beer, not just the light, but the lime as well, which, lime, whether, I feel like if you like lime or you don't like lime, ours is actually really easy to drink. It's just a hint of lime. And so, there's a lot of consumers that have said, yeah, I'm really not interested in lime. And then they try it and they go, that's actually really good. And they'll drink it, they'll buy another one. And so as we started to have those conversations and he really wanted to go national with the brand, it was like, okay, well, let's talk about that. What are you thinking? And, in 2024, we felt like if we could get to 22 states that, that would be doable. And so when I came on and there was a bit, because Richard was already on, Paige was on, and he had mentioned that, there's a possibility that Jason and Travis come on board too. And again, we had talked about early in the podcast is that, trying to get eyeballs onto the brand to convert somebody from something they're already drinking and try it and then buy it again. It's a lot harder than probably people give it credit for. But having, the scope and size of the followers that they have, I was like, we can definitely do something with that, because you got a great beer, honestly, one of the best beers that you'll drink out there. And then we've got, the size of the prize of the community around, social saying, hey, try Garage Beer. I said, we can definitely do something with that. And, our first meeting was with the big national chain. Jason joined me on that meeting. And at that time was when I really realized, like, holy smokes, we have something here. Because they were saying, we want to take you guys national. And, how soon can you guys be in every state? And, of course, I'm like, we'll be in every state that you want us in. They're like, okay, well, we need you in all 50. It's like, oh, yeah, not a problem. And as we left there, I was like, oh my God, how are we going to do that? We just made a massive commitment because honestly, and if you think about timing wise, we did everything the way, kind of against the grain. If you're going to launch a brand, you want to launch it around like spring set timing and, have all your ducks in a row and kind of launch in the spring with spring sets. We launched this in the fall and in the dead of winter. And it was really essentially the network, because you got to remember, if we were in 9 states in the beginning and we didn't have licenses in the rest of them, we had to get licensed in the state. We had to sign wholesalers. Wholesalers essentially had to commit to saying, yeah, we're going to bring you in and we're going to help you launch it. At the same time, we're meeting with all of the national chains and saying, when would you guys like it? And to be honest, they were saying, hey, we want to take advantage of the football season. So we essentially launched the brand off of shelf and on display only. So I'm not saying that I'm recommending that strategy. It just kind of happened that way. And, so we were in all 50 states by the beginning of February.
That's crazy.
Display only. That's
only.
bold, brother.
It was
Bold.
not by design, Harry. It was certainly not by design, but it worked out that way.
It was probably the cutouts of me, right?
It was part of it.
We
Yeah,
call
that
those
was
Slim Richards.
Yeah.
Slim Rich, they keep stealing them. They can't keep them in
They're
stock.
probably putting them on their dartboard or something. I don't know.
Well, so where is it made that you can keep up with this demand? Can you
You're gonna
share
ask me
that?
question. No,
Of course.
we have great brewing partners. So, and we have several of them, but we're with City. We also have some business with Founders, and we're still with BrewDog. So we got plenty of capacity. We don't have some constraints that maybe some other folks have, and you won't see out of stocks coming from Garage. So we that was one of the things we want to make sure that as
Thank
we
you.
build a brand,
Yeah.
Thank
we
you.
don't have out of stocks. So.
So if you're looking for it and it's gone, it's because it sold, but it's in the back. So ask
Yeah,
somebody.
that's right.
Yeah. How challenging is one of the hardest things if you're not, I keep saying big 3, let's say big 4 now,
Right.
is getting into on-premise because
When did we become the 4th?
just now,
Just recently.
just right now
Go ahead.
on this
Big
podcast.
4.
So, is on-premise a challenge for you guys?
Not
Or
really. I mean, I think, on-premise itself is a bit of a challenge, right? And I think everybody learned through COVID, your best bartender is yourself. And so folks have learned that they can turn their garage into their own bar. Thus, that's where garage is amazing, is you can have your best bar out in your own garage, have all your buddies, your friends over, have a party, and you're not going to, pay $20 for a beer. But I think that as the on-premise is challenged to get consumers into the locations, I think where we're different is we can actually drive people to the on-premise. So, if you tag us in a post and, my buddy Corey over there reposts you and, based on the followers that we have, or Richard's out and he's in a bar, or, the boys are out and they tag a bar that they're in, people are going to want to go in there and try Garage. So they're going to go into that establishment and go, hey, can I grab a Garage beer? And oh, by the way, what do you have to eat? So, on-premise for us really hasn't been that hard. We're just, starting to really work all 50 states from, let's call it the feet to the street perspective, because phase 1 out of this was trying to be available in all 50 states and have a complete network. And then it's about really working kind of up and down the street, whether it's independent C-stores, on-premise. Of course, we've got a lot of great chain partners. And so for us, we're trying to do it the right way, which is, take care of everybody all at once, which is not as easy as it sounds. So,
Yeah. And on-premise activation for in Dallas, I imagine, is pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, lots of bars, lots of restaurants.
Yeah.
I mean, we definitely led with retail, and that was the direction from Garage. And like he said, it was a late fall launch, but we've got close to, we're working on a lot of taps now. And I would just say it's the next part of the strategy,
Yep.
right? Is now let's get it on-prem.
Right. I would like to know more about how you got started. I've done a little reading on you, and I understand that you race cars across the country, like in a cannonball run thing, and I mean, right, Jordan?
Yeah, if
Well,
you could
asked-
bless us with any details on the Cannonball Run, because I want to know so much about that. Like, how do you pick your partner? Like, what do you do in the car? Do you talk to each other, or are you just...
It's a long time, and you're really paying attention because you're going really, really fast. And so the one that's not driving is navigating, and then when you're driving, that person's navigating. So the Cannonball Run, we did it in 2007. We broke the record that it stood since 1979, set by David Yarborough and David Hines in a Jaguar. We did it in a 1999 550 Maranello Ferrari. And it was pretty astounding. I was on Jay Leno's couch, talking about it. We were the first ones to break the record in a very long time. And so it came about by, like everything stupid that comes about. We were drinking beer, and there was a bar bet the night before. And my buddy bet me 50 grand. Well, it started at 25 grand that we couldn't beat the Cannonball record. And we were doing another run from Canada down to the Key West on the East Coast. And I said, well, I'm already doing this thing, and I've already paid a bunch of money. He goes, okay, I'll make it 50 grand. And I said, yeah, but you're trying to make me bet 50 grand on something that hasn't been done since 1979, and at least hundreds of people have tried it. So, the odds of it. He goes, okay, how about this? After this is a few more beers. He goes, I'll pay you 50 grand if you beat the record. You don't have to pay me anything if you don't. You just have to try. And so I said, well, this is a great deal. And I looked at Dennis, and I said, well, we're here, and we got the car, and it's already set up, and we got the extra gas tanks, and we've got all the jammers and diffusers and Opticons and CB radios and everything in the car anyways. So we took the bet, and we drove down to New York that morning and set up. And in order to get off the East Coast is the hardest part. I mean, getting out of New York and off the East Coast, getting past St. Louis. And we took off at about 8-something at night and drove all through the night and through the day and through that night, and ended up at Redondo Beach at about, I think it was 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning California time. It's been a while since I've looked at it, but all the records are there. They're all publicly known, and we did it. Will I do it again? Absolutely not. And was it stupid? Yes, but it was cool. And it was a pretty good thing. At the end of the day, it was a pretty good thing for Gas Monkey in general, because we weren't on TV yet or anything, and it hit the airwaves, and a lot of people talking about it. But there's a lot of people that have beat the record now. I think it stands in the 26-hour mark of some sort. And I don't know. I don't want to be that guy that says you shouldn't do it and it's dangerous and everything else, because then somebody's going to go do it anyway. So, make your own decision. Just don't kill anybody. We didn't.
That's. I find that to be inspiring. I'm so glad you didn't kill anybody.
Yeah, I know. And we just had a perfect run. We had no car problems. Gas stops were quick. We only physically stopped the car from moving 4 times. I mean, we rolled every light, rolled everything we could. I guess they call it California stops. It's the only good thing that ever came out of California, to tell you the truth, is the California stop.
Yeah.
And, we had a good run. We only saw one cop. They were going the other way. We were in the bottom of California near Barstow or somewhere, and they passed us, or I'd say we passed them going the opposite direction. But we were hitting probably 130s, 140s at that time. And they flicked their lights on, and then they flicked them off. And it was like, kind of slow down, you a-holes. And so we cruised on in without any problems too much. But it was hard.
That was Jesus right there.
Yeah, I know, right?
8.5
Jesus, take the wheel. Not that one.
What did y'all eat? Did you even eat?
No, not really. We powered up the night or the morning before, and you got to get that through your system. And then we were thinking about that. So we sustained ourselves on beef jerky and energy drinks. Mostly Dennis drinking the energy drinks. I don't. I pretty much do water, and then I moved to coffee, and then I moved to beer.
Yeah.
And I don't do any sodas or energy drinks or anything. Yeah. And my guys back here do, and I try to talk them out of it, but, neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But I did have an emergency beer hidden in the car in case that we had a problem. I'm like, if we break down, at least I have a beer. It's my safe. It's my Linus's blanket. It's my safety net.
Moral support.
When it started to look like we were going to make it, no problems. We're in the LA County area, and we're getting down there. I went ahead and popped the beer and was drinking it, and we had a problem. We were a little low on gas, but I called somebody I knew, and they met us out on the freeway. We pumped like 3 gallons in real fast and made the last stretch because we weren't going to make it. We had misjudged our gasoline usage by about 25 miles, which back then, because we didn't have all these computers and all this stuff, is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
So basically, now that I got a new fresh beer, I'll finish the story. That was kind of the catalyst. Was my wife at the time didn't think I could do it, and then when I got very successful later on doing it, I got rid of her. But back to the original story. The bottom line was I had to create this brand, and I had to get enough awareness in magazines, in newspapers, on the street, because we didn't have all the stuff we have now to get the attention of Hollywood. I went out and shot all my own sizzle reels and took those, like you hear stories of the rappers selling tapes out of the back of their car. That's basically what I was doing, trying to get a show. And finally got it done in 2012. And they only gave me 6 episodes. And
This was Discovery, right?
yeah, and 6 episodes was not enough time to prove my point or get enough eyeballs to make them want to buy more. So it was kind of like we'll use you for some filler. And before we finished filming the 3rd episode, nothing had even aired yet. They ordered 20. And by the time the first run had run, they ordered 40. So we knew we had something. But it's very similar to the garage beer story. It's being young and scrappy and getting out there and hitting the streets and believing in your product and believing that you can fight the big guys. Because I was up against the biggest names there were that had shirts in Walmarts and Targets and everything else. And at the end of the day, we had a good enough product and a good enough show and a good enough crew that we knocked them off the pedestal. So hopefully we can earn our spot with garage beer and kind of the beer environment. It's not much different than the show environment. You got the big dogs and you got to go up against them.
I like that.
I know, and it's not even fake.
And it's not even over, right?
No, it's still rolling along. I had to get away from Discovery in 2019. Most people think it was because of COVID and this and that, but I was already on my way out and fighting to get away from them because they owned me in every aspect. And all the technology and the YouTubes and the Facebooks and the Googles and everything was happening, and I couldn't be a part of it. So it took a long time, and COVID hit, and there was a little bit of a battle there. I'm not allowed to talk about it, but let's just say disco sucks. And I got away, and I got away clean. And I got away clean with everything, and all my brand intact, and all of my different things. And now we're rebuilding the heck out of all of it. We got new restaurants opening, seems like a couple of times a year now. And garage beer, and we're relaunching tequila. Everybody really enjoyed that. And
The cinnamon tequila?
Yep, cinnamon tequila, and
Sounds good, doesn't it, Jen?
we're on YouTube now, and we have more views on YouTube than I used to get on prime time on a Monday night, and close to 30 million followers. We're in 100 countries, translated into 20 languages. On all of our reruns on Discovery, we're still the #1 show in the world in the motorcycle automotive lifestyle category. So. Stay in power. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
So between you and the Kelce brothers, all those millions of eyeballs, how do you quantify that? How many millions of eyeballs is that for this brand, and how powerful is that?
Pretty sure Paige Sporanic has us beat on eyeballs.
All right, okay. And Paige, I'm sorry. And Paige. How could I forget the beautiful Paige?
Man.
Do you mean eyeballs or pairs of eyeballs? Because there is a difference. One's twice as much as the other. I just want to be truthful.
Does Paige
Fair
even
point.
have eyeballs? Has anybody asked this question?
Nobody
Inquiring
will
minds
ever
want to
know.
Yeah.
That's one of life's mysteries. All right, so.
Well, I'm gonna
Anything
no.
else?
Brian's gonna answer this question.
Oh, she always has one more question.
I got more questions.
Bring them.
Yeah. How many millions of eyeballs is Garage Beer getting between everybody?
I mean, if you look on a monthly basis, between, let's call it the podcast, between Richard and Paige and a lot of the folks on the team, you're looking anywhere from 500 million eyeballs a month.
That's crazy.
Pairs of eyeballs, by the way.
Yeah, no,
That'd be a billion eyeballs.
Yeah. Okay. Let's use that metric.
That'd be a billion eyeballs.
1 billion eyeball.
I love it. I mean, it's a bigger number. Go with that. I'm a marketing guy.
That's 2 Super Bowls. That's how I quantify it.
That's crazy.
So how do you think, or what does your marketing budget look like, and how do you direct money when you already have that firepower to begin with?
I mean, Jordan, we have billions of dollars in our marketing budget. It's insane.
Well, no, I'm saying you have like a big brewer's type of firepower, and you're still.
It's a good question. I think that obviously it's hard to compete with, as Harry was talking about earlier, the big three, and so for us to sponsor the NFL or race teams, things like that, obviously it's going to be hard for a company of our size. But I think from a overall scope of who we have on the team and back to the eyeballs that we get on the brand, I mean we're able to hang with the big guys. And I think if you look at you convert our followers to engagements, and the amount of engagements we have, say, versus Bud Light or Michelob Ultra or Athletic as an example, all those are great brands, and we have more engagements than all of them. So we're able to keep up with the big guys because of folks like Richard and the boys and Paige. And
that's one of the things we loved, is just a totally different marketing strategy.
Yeah.
Right. And then at the local level, they do invest. So we've got out of home, we've got a lot of different things we've done here to let people know the garage is open in DFW. Right. We're here.
All right, one more question from me. You tried to evade this earlier, but I got to know, because we talk about these RTD brands all the time, to your point about the flavored beers and, flavored brands. And we go ape what over, oh my God, they did 3 million cases, 4 million cases. But I think Garage Beer is going to do how many cases this year?
A lot more than 3 million cases.
Okay.
Put it that way. So, I think where we ended last year, and keeping in mind that was before the spring set time frame, we're picking up well over 100,000+ PODs during the set time frame nationally. So if you look at how we ended the year and just use volume, or let's call it distribution times velocity equals volume, we're going to be significantly north of 3.5 million cases.
All right. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
That's a business.
Yeah.
That's a real business. That's right.
Business.
We've got a small but mighty team, a lot of folks with a lot of experience, and that was done by design. And so, we're trying to do it the right way. We're not adding 150 people to run the brand before we really need that many people. And Jaxie and I were talking earlier, we're going to add folks to the market here, and we're at a space now where we need more people here, and the business actually justifies it.
Oh, Jordan, you got one more.
I got one more.
Bring it.
Brian, is it time for Travis to settle down and retire and focus on his love for garage beer?
That's a great question, and only Travis can answer that one.
Let me ask you this: what are the current? What is allowed with a current NFL player in marketing?
Honestly, not much. Not much. I mean, that is. In fact, Jen and I were talking about that last night. I think we would love to do more with Travis, and Travis would love to do more, but because of the NFL guidelines and alcohol, we just can't at this point. So when the day comes and he decides to go a different direction, then believe me, we'll be able to use more of Travis.
What can Taylor Swift do?
Oh, I was waiting on it. She was so baited. She was like trying to grab the microphone for Jordan. I knew it was coming.
Taylor can do whatever she wants.
Yeah, no kidding.
True.
Hey, Taylor, I own a little bit of this brand too. So, I'm
Don't
sure
forget
that,
about me.
I'm sure that there's some roadies out there, some girls. Never mind, I'm married. But, anyways.
I'm not. I'm not married.
You did.
Just kidding. But so we want Travis to retire is what you're saying.
What are you saying?
I'm just saying, there are no rules when you're retired.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
Hey, football's a fair sport as long as you're drinking garage beer across all teams.
That's right.
Who did the garage beer? Who did y'all cheer for in the Super Bowl?
Oh,
It is, and you're not going to love the answer. We cheered for both of them.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
I thought that might be the case.
Well, I can take a side. I cheered for Kansas City because Mahomes grew up just there in East Texas.
Yeah.
And he's a Texas guy, so I had to go that route because Texans stand with Texans.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, I suck at picking football teams because that didn't work out.
No, it did not.
Well, they both did win because they were in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's a win.
That is true.
Can we say
Yeah.
that?
It was sponsored by some over-budgeted freaking corporate beer guys.
Who are our best customers and who we love. So, well, gentlemen and ladies, I just thank you for being on BeerNet Radio. I appreciate it. This is a fun episode. And, I'd love to be invited back to this place when I'm not in a blazer. And
I think you should take the blazer off and let's have another beer.
that sounds good to me.
All right.
Yeah.
Brothers.
So thank you guys. So there you go.
Thanks for having us, y'all.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.